Okay, pencils down. Tax time's here. Hopefully those 1040s are filed because next up it's dads and brads. The year's moving very fast, high schoolers, in adulthood/reality. It's calling. I know. I enjoyed high school so much, I did it twice. Higher education still seems to be a trend, and while expensive, think of the cost of ignorance. Speaking of expense and ignorance, tuition, that's just the tip. Meanwhile, the room and board cost. It's a tough sitch for many families in the fall considering total expenses, like housing and the fact that many universities today don't provide enough, or alternatives. So, some families may look at purchasing a home for their son or daughter while they attend school. Does this make sense? Is this a good financial move? And if so, whatever happened to that Kiddie Condo program that was so prevalent 25 years ago? This week on Mortgage A to Z, we discussed this strategy. Are there benefits or alternatives that make it worth the old college try? Well, time to hit the books. It's Matty Loans, your mortgage Van Wilder, and on the surface, the idea of buying your kid a home while attending university has got a feel-good philosophy. Send your kid off to school, trust them make it to class, and while at it, plant the seeds of financial independence by acquiring assets. Yes, that's the premise with the Kiddie Condo. However, the name can be a misnomer. First, the property type is irrelevant. It was never limited to just condominiums. Kiddie Condo setups can be any type of property. It can include townhomes or single-family homes alike. Since the odds are you would have to provide housing anyway, while they pursue higher education, an era where it takes at least 4 years to complete an undergraduate degree. By graduation day, the promise of home equity and appreciation could provide proper springboard for financial freedom. True, the kiddies are critical for the use and occupancy of the property, but the liability is squarely on the shoulders of the parents. Though some kids work while at school, balancing a full-time schedule and enough full or part-time work could be a stretch. It's hard to make that all work 20 years ago, let alone in the present. Yes, the Kiddie Condo strategy provides an avenue to break into real estate with two major advantages. A program that provides the minimum down payment, and B, the lowest cost possible payment since it allowed for an owner-occupied rate. If you compared a Kiddie Condo to investment property type loans and did a side-by-side comparison, you may have to choose between going home or going to college. Plus, any extra bedrooms could be used as quasi-rental income, just nothing to depend on for qualification purposes. Nonetheless, the parents would need to be on the loan to support the debt, provide the down payment and closing costs, with the child rounding off the credit qualifying with sufficient credit history and scores from the program. Provided that you had all three, the down payment, the income to support the debt, and the credit score, voila, you have a great opportunity to do both. This program was most popular in the late 90s and early 2000s, right up into the credit crisis of 2008. During that period, the price of real estate in the credit markets could support a program like the Kiddie Condo. Condos usually meant an affordable alternative, providing an entry point for housing. While lending practices were lax, providing the proper environment to set up these types of deals. It wasn't yet a free-for-all, and one of the caveats for it was it to be an owner-occupied property. Somebody had to live in it, your son or daughter. You weren't allowed to just rent it. So it made perfect sense as a substitute for student housing. The source of most of these programs were through the FHA, meaning that the entry point for down payment was as little as 3.5%. So if it worked, what happened to it? Was that strategy replaced by something much better today? Well, yes and no. While it's possible to duplicate this type of strategy today, it may not be the best. So let's check out some options. The reason why it's not the people's choice today, it had a lot to do with the great financial crisis of 2008. When the credit crisis unraveled, lots of folks lost their jobs. Incomes declined, rates increased, so people stopped paying their mortgages and home prices fell off a cliff. A tough housing market became tougher via dramatically tighter lending standards. The environment made it difficult to qualify for just about any loan, in particular the Kiddie Condo. So it took a few years off. In the aftermath of financial reform, Dodd-Frank changed lending practices that reshaped mortgage programs in non-traditional forms of income, leading to the meltdown that led to financial reform that increased awareness on these lending practices like Frank Dodd, financial reform, and later the ability to pay and the qualified mortgage. We've come a long way since 2008. Lots changed, but some stayed the same. What's different today is that there are alternatives to the Kiddie Condo program. It's less the strategy and more about the ways to make the cost of housing and home affordable. Bad news bears is that the affordability index, with 2023 showing the lowest affordability on record for 40 years. Did you know that only 15% of the homes in 2023 were classified as affordable, which is down from 40% before the pandemic? The combination of high prices and high rates made it harder for young adults to qualify for a mortgage, even when having parents on the loan. Rising student debt and the methods of qualifying for a mortgage, while payment deferral and debt cancellation are possible, is only complicated the matter. The good news is that there's more than one way to skin a kiddie condo. There are more options available for today's buyers than prior to the GFC. Kiddie condos are not as popular today because of the alternatives. It's been reduced to the common denominator of having a non-occupant as a co-borrower for qualifying. If the shoe fits and the 3.5% down via the FHA works, go for it. But the conforming space has now opened doors with limited down payment programs with no funding fee, and it does permit non-occupant borrowers to help qualify, provided that credit score requirements are met. Like kiddie condos, all the income can come from the parents and likewise the down payment. Does it have advantages or disadvantages to the FHA and kiddie condos? Yes and no. Credit is still as important as ever with these scenarios because if that box is not checked for sufficient credit, all borrowers would have to occupy the property. In addition of the limited down payment programs like the Fannie and Freddie, there are 3% programs like Home Ready and Home Possible. These were designed to help low to moderate income borrowers break into home ownership with a minimal down payment. The pricing is equivalent to the rates that you'd see on any 20% down mortgage, with improved mortgage insurance cost comparable to loans with less than 10% down. Now, unlike the FHA loan, where mortgage insurance sticks with the loan for the entirety of the life of the loan, the Home Ready program allows for the cancellation of mortgage insurance when the loan to value drops below 80%. By the way, the down payment for the Fannie program can be from gifts, employer contributions, state and local down payment assistance programs, which adds to the flexibility. The structure of the loan can be made on both fixed and adjustable rate mortgages. It's important to understand the contrast and that programs like the 3% down do have downsides, as the borrowers must meet eligibility requirements to qualify. The criteria includes credit score, income limits, and property types. Non-occupants can help, and it's important to review your down payment requirements, but also remember unaffordability is in. And just because it's available doesn't mean that you throw caution to the wind on your long-term costs like property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. Yet, there's also another setup which sounds like a reverse kiddie condo. It's called Family Opportunity, where parents can buy for their disabled child or elderly parents that can't afford a mortgage. This program is a Fannie product, so you should be able to find it in the mortgage marketplace. For the program to work, the family member for whom the home is being purchased must occupy as their primary. The other family members can live there if they choose, they're just not required. You may have to have proof of relationship or document the intent to qualify for this program, as it provides lenient credit qualifications, relatively speaking, and allows for most property types. So there you have it. It never went away, it just took a few years off. However, as the rules of the game have changed, so have the programs for home finance. Some of the lending practices and regulatory changes that reduce the kiddie condo strategy have been repackaged, using the same ideas, just mirroring new programs with limited down payment, family members to help qualify, paving the road for home ownership opportunities. Now in this market, there are plenty of ways to finance a home, just limited inventory, and with these high mortgage rates making for high mortgage payments, thus the crux of the unaffordability issue. Before you get a hair you know where, it's worth doing the market research with a realtor on the rental stats and compare versus the cost to own. Always consult with a mortgage professional and explore all the programs and qualification specifics. Our discussion today was limited to just a few general practices. Drill down to your specific needs and goals, and a door will open eventually. What happened to the kiddie condo was our question, because in this market, it's not the likely answer. No, I don't have all the answers, but what I can tell you is that change is a brewing. Right, Mom?